Yo, we're back with the sports segment. Disco, so who did we pick in last week's games?
Do you have it written down? I forgot who I picked.
You have it,
Who I picked on the show and who I bet on. I'm pretty sure I took Pittsburgh, New England, Atlanta, and Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have it written down, but that sounds right. I was the only one that took the Eagles.
Right. Yeah, you probably got
the Eagles. I can't. I think, of course, everyone took the Patriots. I took the Saints, so I don't know what you guys took on that game.
Right, I took Patriots, Pittsburgh,
yeah,
Minnesota, and Atlanta.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much: the Steelers. I'll start with the Falcon game. Disappointing, but they just that Phil's defense was great.
Yeah.
They just played great, and the fact that when I'm watching that game, Philly had 2 turnovers, and the Falcons scored the 10 points off the 2 turnovers. Right. When you were watching the game, at no point did I ever think the Falcons were the better team. I just felt like they were getting pounded. Offensive line with the Philly was running all over the place, and I was just very in retrospect, I'm surprised that they actually had the ball there down that deep with a play to win the game in the last minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, they even had that shot because they were just tremendously outplayed.
Did you see that game, Jojo?
Yeah, I saw most of the second half. Excuse me, most of the second half.
Most of the second half. What about the first half?
Well, that's when I was in the emergency room.
What were you in the emergency room for?
Pneumonia.
You went to the emergency room before the game?
Yeah,
pneumonia?
I mean, I've been hanging on. I mean, I know you guys have noticed for a little while that I've kind of sounded like shit, and it was from the middle of last week on, I finally couldn't hold out anymore. So that Saturday morning, I got up and I knew I was going to go, and it just took a long time. So by the time I got home, the game was already on, and I wasn't in a room with a TV or anything.
So you didn't get a bunch of chips and beer and stuff and everything, like cook some.
No, though I had people trying to convince me. They're like, it's just pneumonia. Just come over and watch the game. Have a couple. I'm like, I cannot drink. I got to take antibiotics. They're like, nah, you'll be fine. I've done it.
New England took care of business. You knew they would. There's really nothing to talk about there.
No.
I was shocked that Jacksonville just kicked the shit out of Pittsburgh, like punched them right in the mouth like they did.
Right.
I mean, but if you look, without Ryan Shazier, Pittsburgh's defense was terrible. Like those last 3 weeks, they were not good at all, and like it showed.
It's not. It hasn't been the same team, that's for sure, on defense.
And then that crazy the Viking game was just an unbelievable finish, and just a very dumb play by the Saints defensive back. But I'm very happy. I don't like the Saints. The Saints fans have been trolling the Falcons all year with the 28-3. The Saints fans have been very vocal on my Facebook page, or making fun of me, or on my Twitter, making fun of me when the Falcons lost. They go fuck themselves. That was glorious, and not to mention, this was a receipt from the Bounty Gate. Let's not forget what happened. The whole bounty thing was the Minnesota Vikings and Brett Favre playing at the Saints when they tried to take Brett Favre out. Remember that?
Yep. Bro, again, that play, I was watching it on SportsCenter. They must have replayed that thing like 16 times. Then they were talking about it, and they had a crawler with the guy's name on it. And then they showed highlights of where certain people were when that play happened. And they showed people were at a hockey game in Minnesota, and they all popped and
Yeah, and the Saints fans were just distraught. So there's tons of YouTube clips out there about the fan reaction from that. Right. I will say this, is that kid that made that play on the Saints that screwed that up, bro, 8 months ago that kid was 20 years old.
Yep.
He's 21 years old in a situation, bro, I doubt, okay.
And he gave no excuses either. He owned up to it.
Right, he owned up, but imagine how – you saw what he did. Imagine how nervous he was.
Of course.
Like the nerves that led up to that sequence of events that caused that play to happen. Because he's just it's like he was running at the guy, and he kind of really had no clue what to do. And he just
almost like he tried to tackle him too early or something.
Yeah, it's just bro, I mean, I feel bad that a young kid like that's probably going to feel miserable,
But how about the presence of mind of what's his name, Diggs, right?
Hmm? Yeah, Stephon
Diggs, because
Diggs.
originally he was supposed to catch the pass and go out of bounds so they could kick a field goal.
Right?
And he had the presence of mind to, catch it, almost fell, held himself up with one hand, and scored the touchdown.
Yeah. And the thing was, he looked up at the video screen.
Yeah.
To see if there's behind him as he started running.
Yeah.
That was
incredible game, man. So who do you got? Philadelphia or the Vikings?
Minnesota.
Who do you got, JoJo?
I'll say Eagles.
All right. I got Minnesota and Patriots, Jacksonville, DI.
Taking Jacksonville.
Jacksonville with the upset.
I think the Patriots are. They're playing the best defense in the league, even though they didn't look like that after they got ahead. But I think that the distractions are going to catch up to New England this week. You got a lot of distractions. There's a rumor going around, like they've been talking about that. That win or lose, that Belichick's going to go coach the Giants.
Really?
Like half the ownership group wants to go get Belichick.
Wow. Yeah, I heard there was a rift over the Garoppolo thing, but I hadn't heard about that. Okay, so
that's a New York rumor because I'm hearing this from New York people. That the sports talk radio there is like
reliable New York people or Vince Russo.
Well, this is what they're talking about. The New York radio guys are talking about it.
All right. Yeah. Who do you got, JoJo?
I think Patriots would be a safer pick, but I'm gonna go with DI and go with the Jaguars. I think I'm looking at the upset there.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. And we were also talking about this, man, the basketball games.
Bro, what was the deal with Martin Luther King Jr. Day yesterday? We're recording this so on Monday, the MLK Jr. Day. Ben Simmons and Kyle Lowry on the Philadelphia Toronto almost got they wanted to fight. He said, "Come meet me in the hallway." And Lowry tweeted like, "Hey, I went to go meet him in the hallway. Ben Simmons never showed up. They both got, like they want to go fight, right? Right. So, bro, let me tell you something. And this is kind of like this is close to home, not close to home, but so Chris Paul went back to play the Clippers. Okay, when the Clippers came, Chris Paul, for the Rockets. Okay,
right.
Okay, let me tell you something, bro. 1 year ago. Okay, those guys were in the club a few times, and they're a very close-knit group. Like they were all cool, but they're you can tell they're like, wow, these guys are all they're all out, all in the club, just hanging out, just cool, right? And right. Paul's like the leader, Paul and Blake, bro. That what a nasty divorce.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what happened because they had words during the game. Paul and. Yeah,
Blake called bitch.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they tried to get into their locker room to fight.
Yeah, to fight him after the game.
Right, Harden, Chris
Aziza,
Paul, yeah,
Chris Paul and Clint Capella all went and knocked on the door to go fight them, and they slammed the door. They had to call the police. Bro, did you see Barkley and Shaq crack on the NBA and TNT, the segment after when they were talking about that afterwards?
No.
Bro, they were cracking up laughing.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. About the police calling. Bro, I've never seen them laugh so hard. They were like, hey, this is like Charles Barkley, like pretending he's called the police. Hey, this is Blake Griffin. I'm 6'9", 260 pounds, and Chris Paul wants to kick my ass. You need to get down here.
That's tremendous.
They're not laughing at you. No, they're laughing at the incident.
The whole incident.
They don't believe these two guys.
Charles,
I know why you're laughing.
I played in the NBA for 16 years, and I've been on TV for 18 years. This is the first time I ever heard police presence. They got wait. They got a police presence? Are you kidding me? Wait, come on, man.
Numerous social media reports that LAPD was called.
LAPD was called.
See these two, man.
Come on, man.
You know why they're laughing at?
Come on, man.
Because they They would.
Oh, man.
The issue
Man,
is
y'all gotta stop it, man.
they would relish
Come on.
for a guy to come in the locker room after them.
Hey, Chuck. Hey, Chuck.
I don't
Hello,
know what this
police.
is. I don't know why.
Hello, police. Chris Paul trying to beat me up. This is Blake Griffin. Chris Paul trying to get in the locker room. Get down here and save me. Wait. Hey, this DeAndre Jordan. Mike D'Antoni trying to get in the locker room.
I certainly doubt that it was Clipper players who were requesting any kind of...
Somebody had to call the police. Two guys who would relish guys coming in their locker room.
Come on, man.
Are laughing at the fact
Jack,
that Chris Paul
police
is
presence.
coming to get
The police.
Blake Griffin.
Oh, Lord.
By the way, Trevor Ariza's birthday
I'm sorry, America.
June 30th, in case Blake Griffin actually is going to go to
911, can I help you? 911, can I help you?
going out the back.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I'm in the Staples Center. In the back hallway. 3 players that play for the Rockets.
Could you tell her how he looks? He's about 5'11", 5'10".
Well, they have on shorts, and a couple of them have towels on.
What's his name, sir? Chris Paul. Gerald Green.
Is this a prank call?
And James
He's
Harden.
prank calling
I'm
us.
6'10", 225, one of the most powerful players in the NBA. But Chris Paul trying to get here and kick my ass. Get down here quick.
As we head to break, Jeremy, let's take a look at 10-4. Let's take a look at these shoes. The Black History Month collection, celebrating Black heritage around the world by fueling community action
Equality
to create positive change. The current collection.
Like the Clippers, like Blake Griffin called the police because Chris Paul was coming to beat him up.
Jesus.
They're like, oh my God. Bro, you remember back in the day, shit like that used to happen a lot, you know?
And not only that, imagine, here was another thing that I thought was great. Did you see the Cleveland Golden State game?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that? First, the dunk by LeBron James, behind the head. But then that statement that Durant did and then looked right at LeBron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me tell you something. When those guys at high, when you have the best players in the league play against each other, there's a lot of ego involved. Especially when it's on national TV and everybody's watching.
Right.
That's one thing those guys like to do is beat these guys on national TV.
Yeah. I don't see anybody beating Golden State, right?
Not right now. You never know. I mean, bro, that's the thing with Golden State. They're trying to navigate their way through some injuries this year. Yeah. Like they're doing really good, but they're remember that they'll go periods of time where nobody gets hurt. Draymond's been hurt.
Curry's been hurt.
Well, it looks like Steph Curry's Achilles heel throughout his career is going to be that ankle.
Yeah.
That ankle's just not 100. He's hurt that ankle 1,000,000 times. You know what I'm saying? And he rested and stuff. I mean, that could be that thing could go at any time. And he has to miss it. And if it goes, it's like 2 weeks. Yeah. So if that happens in the playoffs, they might be. Remember when he hurt his ankle? They got through that series in the playoffs.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, they came back and they just killed. Bro, if that happens at the wrong time against the wrong team, that they're in trouble.
All right. So this has been the sports segment, and enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.
Speaking of House of Hardcore, our boy Kevin Kross is going to be making his debut there. Right. And he's been cutting some pretty good promos on Nunzio that have been getting more and more serious.
Right.
I want to play it. Do you have the one from the most recent one that he did? Because I'm a mark for him, and I'll still go out on a limb and say he's right now. I think he's the best promo guy in the business, and nobody's using him. But I want everybody to listen to this promo, and I want you to tell me what you think.
All right.
Good evening, Jimmy. It has been brought to my attention that you do not like it when I call you that. So I will do my absolute very best to just keep it to Mr. Maritano. God knows I wouldn't want to get inside your head. Jimmy, you strike me as the type of individual that was afraid of the dark when you were a small child. what I want to know is, what was it about all of this that frightened you? Were you afraid that a man or a monster was under your bed? Maybe the devil? When it was time to go to sleep, Jimmy, did you run as fast as you could? Did you jump as high as you could into your sheets and start saying your prayers, hoping that a hand wasn't going to reach out and grab you and shake you and tell you it's time? Always wondering, was something under your bed? Something. Maybe it was just me, Jimmy, and you never knew it. Maybe you've always been afraid of me. And what am I? Maybe I am symbolic for an end of times. An end of times for you, family man. You used to be one of us, used to be a shooter. Jimmy, what happened? You gave it all up for the dream. And now what? You're laying in bed in the same darkness you were as a child, laying next to your wife, Doreen. And are you still afraid of the dark? Perhaps you are. But in another sense, metaphorically, being alone. I'm going to take you there, Jimmy, into the deepest waters on the 26th. You're going to be alone. There will be an absence of God for what I will do to you in front of your friends and your family and your fans at the 2300 Arena. This is not a joke. No matter what type of preparation you put into your life at this present time, it will not prepare you for what I am going to do to you. And speaking of Doreen, does Doreen know about me? Does she know who I am? Does she know you're stepping into the ring with Killer Kross? I highly doubt it. Because you're a family man. Right? Why would you tell Doreen about me? Because anyone with a single functioning brain cell would tell you to find your way out of this match. Hell, I'd even tell you to do the same. But I'm the kind of individual, Jimmy, that will come out there and find you anyways. And I will take what I want from you, which is everything. Because no matter where the time is told, Jimmy, in the end, everybody pays the toll. You should bring Doreen. I would love to meet her. Show her what a real man looks like. Tick-tock, Jimmy. Tick-tock.
Have you heard that before, Joe?
Yeah, I watched it when you sent it. Yeah.
Bro, that's what you know. What I thought that's one of the best promos I've heard in a long time, and the reason is it puts your suspension of disbelief in the right place. Like you think that like when you hear a guy cut a promo like that, it's just your mind gets in the right place for the match.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
We had Kevin on, and I've never seen him live. I might be at that show, actually. Don't know him, so I'm not kissing his ass, but that was like 90s Foley, Jake Roberts, like American Psycho shit. Like, that was really, really good. Really good.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, that's great. You know, his voice, I love the music, which, you know, he does all of that. He does all that, you know, and very talented guy because he did some videos for me for something that we're going to be doing, and he did it really quick and with very little guidance. You know, I just gave him kind of like a broad idea, and he caught it real quick. So well, you know, he's got a very, very clearly defined character and knows what to do. You know what I'm saying? That's because you get the feel like this guy's crazy. You know, like this guy's like a crazy guy because he does like kind of like split personality stuff sometimes. The funniest thing that he does too is when he cuts his promos. Sometimes he always talks about a restaurant he owns in New York called Dorsia.
Oh, right. So yeah, American Psycho, yeah.
Yeah,
that's tremendous.
That's the restaurant the guy owned in American Psycho.
Yeah. So I was spot
So,
on
like,
with that one.
I'm just a fan, man. So I just want everybody to hear that.
How
I want to hear feedback on that on the Patreon side in the comments. What everybody thought of that promo.
He's a big guy, right? Like how tall is he?
Oh yeah, it just looks the part. He looks great. He's like 6'3".
Okay.
He just looks the part, you know. So.
All right, are you guys ready for the world famous disco list?
Absolutely.
Ready and willing.
All right, boom. Lord Cyrus.
Why do you call him Lord Cyrus?
Because he is Lord of Moldavia. If you remember, he had that whole thing where he was giving out chickens, and I think he's been very good for society. So
That's great. He's on the list.
Your lordship. Lance Storm.
He's on the list.
Paul Lazenby.
he's on the list.
Scott Tuggles D'Amore.
Oh God, he's on the list.
Put the whole Canadian faction up front.
What's D'Amore been like? Does my name come up in conversations with your dad at the Impact tapings?
Your name comes up a bit, and you always get buried.
You know,
Who buries me?
I try to defend you, but it's too many people.
I find that very, very, very hard to believe. Okay?
Wait a minute. You're telling me you don't think I would defend you? You say
Absolutely
that?
not.
Are you trying to say that I would either start the conversation burying you myself, or just jump in while everybody else is burying you? What am I being accused of?
Either way, either or. Just however you want to put it. You know?
So no defense.
I heard there was an open spot for a producer down there because Tommy Dreamer couldn't make the show, and Jerry Lynn was there. So I wonder if anyone actually suggested DI to come in as a replacement for these tapings.
That's right. Did anybody ever? Has anybody talked about me coming in and working on the creative team?
Not on the creative team. No, I wanted you to come in and do something with me.
And who shot that?
Well, I had brought it up when Jeff was still there, so I have to bring it up with the new administration.
Which is who?
Basically, Lord Cyrus, Scott Tuggles D'Amore. I think those are the two main ones. Yeah.
Great. So
two guys that are on the list. Then the next entrance is the North Kakalakshi faction, which is Matt, Maxell, Wolfgang, Rebby Hardy.
They're all on the list.
And Shane Helms.
Oh, he's on the list too.
Sexy Star.
She's on the list.
Sexy Star's explanation.
Has she had any matches since all of her shooting? No.
She'll have one in about 2 weeks. And I will see her, so hopefully I'll have some news.
Is she being blackballed?
I think so, a little bit, yep.
Interesting.
Jimmy Jacobs.
Oh, he's on the list. I heard you told me that he was did he have his fingernails painted blue at the TV tapings?
He did. He did have his fingernails painted blue, and he had a eyeliner on, and kind of like a Prince getup, all black with a little silk scarf.
Kind of Teddy Hardish a little bit, huh?
Yeah, in that vein, yes. Yeah.
Is that a light blue nail polish or dark blue?
I want you to write this down. I want you to put his fingernails on the list.
Wow. How about the fingernail polish?
No, just the fingernails. We'll put the fingernail polish. The fingernails will go on the list because if they're painted blue, they're on the list.
All right. Fingernails. Blue fingernails I'm going to put. Okay, this is another combo platter. Vince Russo, his Twitter followers, his guests on the LGBTQ show because you get less airtime, and Vince is singing.
All of those are on the list, especially the singing's terrible.
Pat Simon Diamond.
He's on the list.
I saw you guys went back and forth a little bit there on Twitter.
Always.
Eddie Teddy Bear Ferrara and his gout.
He's on the list. He posted on Facebook that it's the anniversary of him winning the Cruiserweight Championship. The 18-year anniversary.
What a beautiful anniversary.
He won the championship when
he
was Oklahoma.
That's right. Did you boo him for that?
I told him he makes me mad.
But, Ricky Hustle.
He's on the list.
Al Leinhart.
He's on the list. He's on the list for giving the form for Ricky Hustle to bury me on the Wrestle Circus IPPV.
Chris Jericho.
He's on the list. He had a stupid. Bro, let me tell you something. he had this really corny podcast. I mean,
Right.
like this. Okay, so he had Kenny Omega on,
Right.
and they had a podcast talking about their match that like lasted longer than the match.
Right.
I mean, I was like, come on. The match was a good match, great match, but then like we're not like having to sit there and have an entire podcast on a wrestling match. You know, it's like good grief.
Well, they did get 5 stars. I don't know if you had read the review.
Yeah, bro, if they had that match at the Madison Square Garden Armory in Paducah, Kentucky, would have gotten probably 3.5. Right, but just when you go to Japan, they automatically add 2 stars to the match, no matter just from the start. You get 2 stars right off the bat, just for the name announced. You know, it's ridiculous.
Marcus Everett.
The kid that went splat?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, he's on the list.
Jojo Feeney.
He's on the list. He had a bad week this week here on the podcast. A lot of this stuff is edited. The show is heavily edited because JoJo was having technical difficulties, which the producer's not supposed to have. So that's why he's on the list.
I'll leave my mess ups on there just so people can laugh at them.
How about his podcast?
The Creative Control podcast is on the list, yeah.
Shark Boy.
He's on the list, but so I don't know how long this was ago. Maybe this is a recent one, but Cornette had a mailbag question, and he was talking about one of the things that made him quit TNA was going to make him quit TNA once, right?
Right.
And that was the Stone Cold Shark Boy angle.
Right.
That they did. You remember that whole thing right on TV where he's like,
Yep.
you've been hit in
100%.
the head. So Cornette was trying to say, and this is kind of like a lot of fake news he was spewing, is that, and this is where you got to hear kind of 2 sides of the story, because like Cornette's rant was trying to, of course, Cornette likes to bury Russo. He says this is one of the dumbest things Russo ever did. Okay, is that they had the Stone Cold Shark Boy. He'd been hit in the head. It was, they would have like the doctor there, and when he woke up, he was Stone Cold Shark Boy, right? Bro, Cornette was trying to say that TNA spent all this money on a set.
Right.
Like, Cornette, I'm like, Jim, we were it's like, come on, are you really going to try to tell people that? Conan knows because Conan's there. Bro, when you're at Universal Studios, there's tons of sets set up already. You don't have to pay anything. You just go through, like, you just shoot. So it's like the fact, like, they didn't have to pay a dime for that because the set already existed in one of the studios that we went and shot it, you know?
Right.
So that's a lie. The TNA didn't have to spend a penny on that segment, okay? And number 2, when Stone Cold, people don't realize this, because Lance Storm years ago buried that angle and said he was never watching Impact again when that happened, right? And so when I heard that, I got on the horn and I called my sources and I called somebody. He wasn't on the list yet, but I called Pat, Simon Diamond, who was the
pre-list Pat. Let's call him that.
Pre-list Pat.
All right.
Post Pat from one row up. Okay.
Okay.
So I called him, and I was like, because Shark Boy was hot after that. He was pretty hot, bro. I called Pat. So Shark Boy was basically his character was just a mid card, almost jobber, never won something. They did that spot with him, and he became Stone Cold Shark Boy, right? I said, Pat, I go, who gets the biggest pops on the shows on the road? He's like, by far Shark Boy.
Right.
Okay. And number 2, I go, who's got how's his shirts, how's his merch selling? They said it's the number 1 T-shirt at the shows, Shark Boy 316.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so Cornette buries Vince for that.
Right.
When really the narrative should be the opposite. Should be the narrative is like, bro, we did 3 minutes of TV with the guy at a corny kind of angles, everything, and got his T-shirt sales up to the top T-shirt sales and made him the biggest pop on the show.
Right.
Kind of the opposite of what you're trying to spin. Like TNA spent all this money to ruin the show. You know, it's like no, they spent no money and they got a guy over very easily with just 2.5 minutes worth of vignettes. You know.
And what happened to that character? What did it just? Did it?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. They used him for a long time. They just stopped using him, I guess. So
yeah.
Jeff always liked him. Jeff always liked him.
Let me see. A Raven.
Oh, he's on the list.
The Burning Man.
He's another guy not afraid to paint his fingernails.
Raven. Yeah. The Burning Man.
You mean the guy that got all messed up on bath salts and flakka and at the Burning Man festival?
Yeah.
and thought he would become the Burning Man, so he ran into the burning fire and burned to death?
That guy right there. Hey, do you know that? Did you know that Chris Jericho sent you another apology?
Wait, he's got another one now?
Yeah, but this one's in Japanese. Yeah. So we have to. I gotta find somebody to translate it on the show.
Yeah, he did ask for a translator.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious.
He sent an apology in Japanese, and we have to find a Japanese translator.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked him. I go, "What does it say?" He says, "Well, find somebody to translate it for you." Can you believe this guy? And there was a Japanese guy at an Impact called Ishimori, and I was going to have him listen to it, but I can't understand his English, so I was like, this is going to do no good. Road Dogg.
He's on the list.
Mitch Valentine.
Oh, God, he's on the list. He's so happy to be. There's nobody's happier to be on the list than Mitch Valentine.
100%.
I heard he got stiffed in the ring in his return match.
Did he?
By who?
That's what. The guy's name was Levi Shapiro.
Sound that tough.
I was sent a message that said he stiff kicked him 5 to 6 times in the head, and he had to go to the ER for a concussion.
Oh, that's not good. That's kind of a dickish thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're you know what I'm going to do? Even though Mitch Valentine's on the list, I'm going to put Levi Shapiro on the list. Okay, because come on, I don't care how little you like the guy. If you're gonna stiff a guy, you stiff him in the right place. You don't fuck with the guy's head.
Right in the balls.
And kick a guy in the head, especially in this concussion age. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying?
Levi Shapiro is now on the list. Mike Beltran's beard, the ref from UFC.
He's on the list.
That's disgusting.
The song "She's a Lady."
That song is on the list, and I'm asking you guys to quit playing that song. It's very disrespectful.
We're not playing it on Patreon.
Jeff Lane's Room.
Oh my God! So did I tell you this? Was this on the show where
Stevie Richards.
He did Zapruder film.
Actually, another guy tweeted that he thinks one of the toys was moved a 16th of an inch. And could have possibly been played with. I do think
says it fell, that he picked it up and put it back in place.
I don't think there's any doubt that anybody that watches that show and him in that room would question whether or not he plays with those toys. I think he definitely plays with those.
Yeah, Disco, they're figurines.
No, action figures, he says.
Action figures, yeah.
Like he said, there's a difference between an action figure and a toy. There's a noticeable difference. Or clear, Jeez. I don't know if anybody else is going to think that. Yeah.
Kevin Kleinrock's Triple A.
Kevin Kleinrock's Triple A is on the list, and Kevin Kleinrock's Lucha is on the list, and Kevin Kleinrock's pornographic career is on the list too.
His pornographic past.
His shady pornographic past.
Jeff Jarrett.
He's on the list.
Even though he got out of rehab.
But bro, just because you got your life back together and you're out and you're free and you're making things happen, it does not mean you get off the list.
He's the Memphis champion again. Memphis Grizzlies champion.
Yeah, well, he's on the list.
PWG.
That's on the list.
Ryan Satin and his girlfriend Erica Steiner.
Ryan Satin has a lot of annoying tweets.
Does he?
Because he tweets he tweets like a 15-year-old kid when he watches Raw.
Yeah, I can't see him anymore.
Yeah. So he blocked you?
Yeah.
I'm very surprised he's never blocked me. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, he's for some reason he has heat with Joe.
He's never blocked me, and I definitely would be a guy that he's blocked because he's DM'd me a few times, thinking that I was trolling him. I wasn't. Yeah. Okay, I will troll you, but I'll tell you, if I'm trolling you, I will readily admit it. If I'm not trolling you, I'm not.
And I had that conversation with him. I go, bro, he gets for somebody that throws as much shade as he does, intentionally or not, and it's got to be intentional because it happens too much for it not to be. He's very sensitive. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Juicy Love Line followers.
Oh God, they're on the list.
David,
wait. Did we say we're going to start taking
yes
submissions?
Yep.
Well, did we get any this week?
I definitely started getting them. They're trickling in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's back.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this, Joe. Since you're the producer of the show,
yes,
I want you to review them and I'm going to give you editorial privilege, okay, to let you know that if there's some you think that are worth submitting, that we can have a juicy love line next week.
Okay.
Or,
I will do that. I'll put them through the filter.
All right.
okay.
This guy who I'd like to have back on the show, because I'm sure he has other conspiracy theories, but the David Weiss, the flat Earth guy.
Totally, it's completely on the list. There's so many things that debunk the flat Earth. There's videos out there that debunk David Weiss too.
That's awesome.
Videos, so he's, I don't know. If you think the Earth is flat, you got to be out of your mind.
Yeah, your brain is flat. Independent New Japan, Mexican, and women wrestling.
They're all on the list, especially women's wrestling. Especially women's wrestling since Sasha ended Paige's career.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
Did you hear about this?
Well,
come on.
No.
What do you call it? Sasha was in the corner. Paige had her back to her, and Sasha gave her like a double.
Was this on Raw?
Kick. It was a house show, wasn't it? It might have been Madison Square Garden, actually.
You know about this like 2 weeks ago? She got kind of like temporarily.
Yeah. I remember that. Okay, wait. I remember that they had to stop the match if she was hurt, but I didn't hear nothing about her ending her career.
Yeah, the doctors.
The doctor told her she's done.
Yeah, they won't clear her. She's got the spinal stenosis that ended Edge's career in Austin, and
Yeah.
So
wow.
How about that?
Wow.
How about that?
I just and people are saying like, well, they did the spot the night before, but when you look at it, man,
that's because here's the thing: all these snowflake fans have hung their hat on this women's equality stuff, and they can't be objective when things like this happen. You know what I'm saying, bro? I keep saying it all along. These injuries in the WWE will stop if you start fining and suspending the guys that hurt the other guy.
Right, and
if you also fine and suspend the agent for the match.
And if you notice, look at it like if
real quick, the injury you'll go like 2-3 months and wow, nobody's getting hurt. It's like because they stop doing things that can cause injury. You know, that's what'll happen.
Which is exactly what they're trying to do, like with football. Now you see, remember back in the day, Disco, when somebody came after your quarterback, you could literally remember Joe Theismann break his leg. I mean, I remember I couldn't wait for our players to get the quarterback because I wanted to see how much he could fuck them up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could fuck a quarterback up. Bro,
Yeah.
you can't even blow on a quarterback today without getting fucking fined or
you
trying to
consider
hit
it-
somebody that helmet on helmet, huh?
If your pinky touches the quarterback in the helmet, that's a 15-yard penalty.
No.
You know, I mean, like I said, they're trying to protect. And it's like until they
And
start
until
doing
WWE does something like that, it'll continue.
But here's one thing.
it'll be a quick fix. Nobody wants to hurt somebody else and get fined and suspended. You don't want to get hit in the pocket. You know.
The thing
And
about
it's really the only fair thing to do, because when you're reckless, I mean, let's say an injury happens and it's nobody's fault. But if you recklessly hurt somebody, you should be fined and suspended, because that's not what this business is about.
Yeah.
You know?
And she kicked her at between the shoulder blades, almost at the base of the neck. Like that shit's obviously you guys know it. That shit's dangerous, and I think it's because
when you get hit right there, you can get seriously whiplashed on that.
yeah. But
You know what I'm saying?
Sasha came from NXT, so she's like like an internet favorite. You know, she's very popular also. But I think it's because they've already anointed her as as one of their favorites.
Right.
So if she does something wrong, they don't want to
They're
bury her.
So and me, what am I always do? I just call everything like I see it, completely fair, completely objective. I don't, I mean that's the way I am, and I would just make this a blanket fines and suspensions for hurting the other guy. And trust me, I guarantee you it.
I was gonna say it would be a big difference if like Baron Corbin hurt someone, and everyone would be like, "Oh my God, he's crazy reckless." But when Seth Rollins hurt John Cena, oh well, it was an accident. So it's.
When he heard Ben Balor, he heard that's then Taz is on there, because Taz always talked about PJ Black, like he used to tell Russo, you got to bring this guy in and stuff. But so when Seth Rollins hurts all these guys, like, oh, he's safe, he's come on, you got to call it like you see it. You lose your credibility when you don't call things objectively.
Mm-hmm. And it has to do with people's favorites. They're willing to excuse them if it's someone that they enjoy or whatever.
Yep, 100%.
Seth Rollins' knee.
Did he do a bad job selling the knee again in a match? Because people were tweeting that to me.
No, I don't
last
know.
night.
I
didn't see the match, but yeah, it's
I
over.
didn't see the show yet. All right.
I'm getting pizza. His knee is still. People are tweeting me. Is Seth's knee still on the list? So you probably yes, it's on the list. Yes, it is on the list.
WWE Creative.
They're on the list.
X-Pac.
X-Pac's on the list. He still throws shade at me sometimes.
And the Meltzer rating system.
Oh God, it's still way up there on the list. Way up there on the list.
So where can people find you? What do you got going on? What do you want to plug? And are you bringing back the gentleman's cut to your Instagram?
I'm letting the hair grow.
Right.
Okay, so it's a few weeks. My hair's growing, and I like
and
the way
the
it looks.
beard, right?
Yeah, I get the beard and the hair is growing out.
Right.
I will. You can catch me at The Real Disco on Twitter. I want to start because you have given the green light
right
for these trolls to come up with these parody accounts and tell them to keep comments and everything. That there's so many that. I got a call from Pat Simon Diamond today asking if Glenn Gilbernetti is me on Twitter.
Disco Master Keepin?
No, but maybe Gwen Gilbernetti is.
Gilbernetti, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes, I didn't think it was. I was just like, I don't know if I go, no. I told Pat, I said, Conan has thought it'd be a good idea to tell all these trolls to just continue to keep trolling and come up with these phony accounts. And now that's all I see on Twitter all the time. So what I wanted you to do and help me, Conan, is even though I haven't really cared about it before, it's time for me to help to get the blue mark on my page. I need to get verified. And you said you could help me get verified.
Yes, I can. 1,000%. I can get you verified probably in less than a week. And
we've mentioned the building, Twitter. What's the lumberjacks? Tim Burr.
That's
and there's another one, Dr. M.T. Beaker.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, what is that? That's kind of a corny one.
Dr. M.T. Beaker, the evil chemist, creation of the Disco Inferno. It says. I don't. It's so ridiculous that it's funny.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. And then there's one Gwen Gilberti, right?
Yes.
Or Gilbernetti.
Yeah.
Gwen Gilbernetti. Yeah.
Right.
At the Real Dicks.
The Real Dicks. Oh yeah.
Because that's what Jericho tweeted one time.
Yeah.
So he's kind of complicit in this conspiracy too, to try to get these trolls. But I will say this about these trolls is for some reason they've just taken and which it kind of lets me believe that maybe Joe, you're behind this.
Oh, geez.
That you may be kind of leading this parade of trolls, or have been in contact and communication with these guys. Because the one noticeable thing about all of these troll accounts is their disdain for Kevin Gill and his Twitter.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
Because all of them, always just retweet his stuff and make fun of him and just bury him. So. That's why I think JoJo might have something to do with these accounts.
I don't know Tim Burr. I don't know Dr. M.T. Beaker, but I do correspond with Dane Feltzer and with what's the one?
Kevin Gill at Whole Foods.
Yes. they have me in a group tweet message. Those guys.
That's awesome.
But I don't know the other ones now.
Disco.
Yes.
Kevin Gill at Whole Foods, okay?
OGKG, what up?
Oh, my God. Great stuff.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, Kevin Gill at Whole Foods. And people wonder why we bring Kevin Gill up on the show. It's because the guy just still dominates our, most of the Twitter discussion each week. So.
He's hilarious. Okay, so where can people find you? In any? So you're letting the hair grow and you're letting the beard grow. Okay, any pictures on Instagram?
I might take a picture of the beard and the hair this week, but no haircut. At Disco Master GG on Instagram. FSW Vegas, I teach there. That's at FSW Vegas on Twitter and Facebook. Future Stars of Wrestling. I also catch me on the Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt Show. That's LTBD, not LBGTQ. Okay, so Conan keeps getting that wrong.
My bad.
On the Russo Parade, it drops on Podcast One on Mondays. You can also catch me.
Is everything good over there? And everything good now between Bolin and Beetle?
No, but they're still they're still on the network. They just don't do shows together anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, but Vince has a ton of people on his network, Brad. Like the YouTube channel. It says he's got a lot of schmucks too.
Right.
My God.
Who's the biggest schmuck there?
I'm not exactly sure who these people are, but some of these people tweet. Here's the thing: when the whole Vito and Kenny Bolin thing was going down, and they were arguing, these people would tweet about it and they would tag me in it.
Right.
Okay, somebody, and I said, I go, please stop. I go, whoever tags me in one of these again, I will be blocking you. Okay.
Right.
They keep tagging me and all this. I don't give a rat's ass about Kenny Bolin and Vito's feud.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't care less about it. It's like, but you can also catch me at Sapphire Gentlemen's Club, the world's largest gentlemen's club in Vegas. If you take
home of the robot strippers.
It's very
the robot strip. If you call 702-303-3430, we'll send you a free limo to pick. Actually, some people took it up on the offer this week. The guy I had one guy came and see. We'll call 702-303-3430. We'll send you a free limo, get you your free drinks, an $80 savings. This week, a guy came and saw me. I think his name was Kevin, and some other people came, but they didn't come back to see me in VIP reception. So hopefully they had a good time.
All right. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's it.
All right. Well, just so everybody knows, there's a certain protocol if you do meet Disco at Sapphire's club, and it starts with this. You approach him with a compliment question. You can talk to him 1 to 3 minutes if you put him over. Yep. Additional time if you're not annoying and you tell him you've got it like that. At no time will there be any direct eye contact.
No.
Please don't make me have to repeat that again. $20 handshake gets an autographed picture of another round.
Yep.
If you are drunk and or obnoxious or don't put them over, you will hear this.
Hey, get one guy from the front door to back reception, please.
Right. At which point you can tell them you go, girl, because they're kicking you out, or you're getting 86, which is a permanent removal. And I got real good news. Hugs are back on the table, especially for cute transgenders. And this week's hand job, and this is mostly for gentlemen callers, is a cream of mushroom soup. All right. And you can witness this in 3D or virtual reality, 3D glasses, or VR goggles not included. # tremendous. Boom. What do you got, Joe?
This is a true story. Someone that messaged me and wanted a free link to the show because they didn't want to do Patreon. Like, can I get a free link? Can I get whatever? And I said, well, it's only this much money. He's like, all right, could you at least tell me what the hand job of the week was? So
that's
oh man. Well, speaking of Patreon, for Monkey on a Cupcake members, there will be a new show coming up, maybe weekly. Kevin Kleinberg and I are talking about it, but it will be. I believe the first will be post the 25th anniversary of Raw. Kevin's already reached out to Monkey on a Cupcake members to send an email to K100 questions. So that'll be going on there. Could be one after the Royal Rumble as well with special guests. You never know. So that's patreon.com/Conan. Check it out. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you're on the site. But the new Creative Control episode this week was Bruce Pritchard. And coming up next week is finally Liam O'Rourke that wrote the Brian Pillman book. It's been delayed a couple of times for some of his reasons, some with me being sick, but that'll be coming up this week. He was on the Wrestling Observer Radio recently, so the book's starting to get some traction.
Was there anything interesting? What a way to make people listen to the Bruce Pritchard interview. Was there anything interesting that you and Bruce talked about or that he revealed that they might want to listen to the show?
Yeah, he revealed some of his time at Impact while he was there, working with Jim Cornette, working with Jeff and Dutch, and working with you as well. Some stuff from Impact. Also got a little bit out of him about his upcoming appearance on Raw Monday. I don't know if it's going to be Brother Love or what they're going to do, but Bruce will be on Raw Monday for the 25th anniversary as well, and he talks about that some. And other than Bruce this week and Liam O'Rourke later in the week, you check out ProWrestlingTees.com/CC with Joe Feeney for the Creative Control T-shirt store. And that's about it.
All right, man. I just want to thank everybody that checked out the Patreon site and that's checking it out this week. Like I said, next week we start at Westwood 1, and we'll be back with the Juice and Shane and the Mass Republic Minute. And finally, Disco is going to have a good topic to discuss with his past pornographic career. And thank you for spreading the word, the friend or foe. You can check me out at KONNAN5150 on Twitter and Facebook. Aero Lucha is going to be in Lubbock and Amarillo this Friday and Saturday, January 19th and the 20th. Hope to see everybody there. Come out, and say hi to me. I'll be walking around. Also on Pop TV, there's Impact. Scott Steiner is going to be showing up pretty soon. What was the other thing that I have? that's basically it. I want to thank everybody for listening to Keeping It 100. Boom.
Please support Keeping It 100 with Conan on Patreon at patreon.com/Conan or Conan.me for extra audio content as well as exclusive video from Impact and Disco Inferno training sessions. Don't forget to subscribe to Keeping It 100 with Conan on iTunes so you can get each episode as it drops every Thursday. Leave us a rating and a review. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com for t-shirt stores for Conan, Disco, Masked Republic, Juventud, and even JoJo the producer. K100questions@gmail.com is the email address to send any questions, comments, or songs for the Juicy Seal. And finally, go to ChrisJerichoCruise.com for all the information on the Chris Jericho Rock and Wrestling Rager, featuring Ring of Honor Pro Wrestling, comedy, and rock music from Miami to Nassau, which takes place October 27th through 31st, 2018. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
What things, or is there anything that you should never say in a promo? For instance, mentioning that you lose a match.
You never mention you lose a match. Let's say Vern Gagne. You never mention he's a bald old man. Because the people say, yeah, he is. You knock his wrestling ability, the stuff he's good at. You never say Wahoo McDaniels was a big fat Indian. No, he's a crazy Indian. You can't stop him. You have to put over your opponent's strong parts and never knock his weak parts. And then you make it right.
Hey, were there any wrestlers that sort of fell into that trap with upsetting other wrestlers with their promos?
Oh, yeah. Dr. Big Bill Miller years ago. He was 6'7", 320 pounds, heck of a wrestler from Ohio. And he did a promo about Dick the Bruiser. He's this 5'8" midget. Why did people in Indiana cheer him and they could cheer an athlete like me? That was erased. Bruiser never let that thing air. Okay. It's embarrassing. So you never say things like that.
Okay. What do you think of getting a script for promos, as happens a lot today?
I don't know. I can't be scripted. I have to come off the top of my head. If you really give me something to read, I probably couldn't remember 4 or 5 words out of it, because my mind just goes like that. You have to. I can't use somebody else's words or somebody else's feelings. They have to be mine. If I'm reading somebody else's feelings, you can tell it's not me. I have to do me. I have to be Bobby Heenan. The next guy has to be Fred Smith, Bob Jones. They have to be their character, their identity. You can't be somebody else.
Okay. Who do you consider the best promos in wrestling and the guys who should be studied for both baby faces and heels?
Well, Dusty Rhodes. He's never at a loss for words. Excuse me. Neither is Ric Flair. They're so entertaining by what they say, and with the woo, and Dusty with the elbows and this. That is entertaining. And some guys just get out there and they fall flat on their face. And I hate to say it, but that's why they have managers. A manager is a crouton on a salad. That's how I feel. You have your salad, you have your tomatoes, you have your meat. That's the opponents. That's your man. And then some extra on the top is me. See, if that guy could talk, he probably wouldn't need me. But if I'd manage guys who could talk. Ray Stevens, Nick Bachman. You put me with them, it's an added plus, because we both can talk, and we were both good at what we did. But managers were usually used for guys that couldn't talk. That's why I had a manager. But if guys don't talk, I don't care who you are, you have no identity. People won't come to see you. They want to see. They want to feel your character. And that's what's wrong with wrestling today. Everybody thinks, we'll film the matches, you'll get a good win, People, I don't think, really care what you... First of all, how many clotheslines do you see in a match? How many things do you see in a match before that? But there's only one interview. Everybody should do a different interview. And I don't talk like Rocca. Rocca don't talk like Hickey. Guys don't talk like each other. We're all different. That's where people can... That's where they get their feeling. They rip on who you are, and they want to be behind you, or they want to hate you. People hated me because I was sarcastic. I used to talk about the town, the people. I used to say, Columbus, Ohio. You know who won Miss Columbus, Ohio last year? No one. There isn't anybody. There was a guy at the gas station, Earl, came in third. That was it. And they would make the people mad. They would also entertain the people that didn't believe wrestling. So you have to do both. You have to entertain and get your heat and make both of them buy tickets. Because for 1 hour, for me to go out there and be horrible, that's going to get old. Because not everybody believes on my path. Everybody wants to be entertained, so you have to do that too. And put your heat in there too. It all comes with the experience.